Hello and welcome to Explorer Classroom. My name is Gina Borgia and I'll be your host today. At National Geographic, we believe in the power of exploration, wonder, and storytelling to change the world. This Explorer Classroom YouTube show connects students around the world with our National Geographic explorers for short lessons and time for your questions. Today, our explorer is Rachel Ikemeh. Rachel is a conservationist and researcher who helps protect chimpanzees in Nigeria, a country on the west coast of Africa. She is an expert on what makes these types of great apes special and why it is important to protect their lives and their habitats in the Niger Delta. Rachel spends tons of time in the field with chimpanzees and teaches others to care for them and their habitat. And she's ready to share what she knows with you. Before we get into today's lesson and Q&A on chimpanzee conservation, let's welcome our friends joining us from all around the world. Our registered classes today represent places all across the world. Our shout outs this afternoon go to Florlia Middle School, Cherokee Elementary, Duke of Connaught, Amvit Boulevard Elementary School, Hamilton Southeastern School District, Oregon Virtual Academy, Galton Valley, Sir John Moore Elementary School, Kennedy School, Robert Shell, Brentwood Elementary School, Milford Junior High, Risen Home School, Boulder Ridge Elementary, William E. Snyder Elementary, Miami Springs, New Heritage School, Stratford Academy, Westlake Charter School, Huntington Union Free School District, Lamar County Middle School, Children's Home School, and Alcona Glen. We're thrilled to have you all here. And since it's the very beginning of a new season, I have a special ask for all of you teachers out there. Please help us spread the word. If you share our goal to inspire the next generation of explorers, we'd love it if you would invite a colleague or a friend to join you here on Explorer Classroom this season. Help us get the word out to more educators and get more students direct access to National Geographic explorers. And with all of that out of the way, it's time. Let's get this Explorer Classroom started. I'm going to turn it over to Explorer Rachel to teach us about chimpanzee conservation. Take it away, Rachel. Oh, Rachel, you'll just have to unmute. There you go.
Thank you so much, Gina, and thank you to everyone. It's such a great pleasure for me to meet you all, and it's just so nice to be in touch with everyone. And I wish there was like a lot of time for me to meet all of you individually, but I guess we don't have that time today. So I will just jump right into my conversation with you all today, and I want all of us to just feel free and just participate in this class. And I consider that we are all learners, and so let's just have fun, right? So how many of you already know about chimpanzees? Can I see some hands up? You know one or two things about chimpanzees. Oh, that's great. So many people. So basically, we will all be talking. Give me a minute. Let me share my screen. And let me put this on. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, so I'll be speaking to you today about conserving Nigerian chimpanzee. So like Gina rightly said, my name is Rachel Ikemeh. I'm a 2020 National Geographic Explorer. And before I go into telling you about chimps, I'll first of all just tell you a bit about myself. I hope you don't mind, and I promise it won't be boring at all. So it's just good you get to know me a bit, and then probably while we're asking questions, I'll get to know some of you too. I'm from Nigeria. I live in Nigeria, and I was born in Nigeria. I put a picture here just to show you when I was a baby. That's my big sister, and that's my mom. So it's kind of blurry. So it tells you sort of like my age, because the picture then it's kind of old, very old. So then I began my adventures in the wild conserving chimps and other animals almost 20 years ago. So that's a bit of a long time as well. And then that's me in the field. And during the course of my career working on chimpanzee, I've been privileged to work with some wonderful people and then win some awards in various countries, including the United Kingdom, even in the US and in Spain as well, just last year in Spain too. So that's just a little bit about myself. So I'm a conservationist, and I think probably some of you know what a conservationist means, but for those who don't know, actually I help to protect wildlife and their habitat home where they live, and I protect them from people who are posing threats to their survival. So that's just what I do for a living, and I've been doing for a huge part of my life the last couple of years. So to the main star of today's talk, the chimpanzees. So first things you should know about chimps is that they are called great apes, and they are called great apes for the reasons that they are quite big, and they could reach heights of about 4 feet. They could reach heights of up to 4 feet tall. So that's the average height of 8 to 12-year-old human children. So imagine that a chimp is just as big as some of you, is just as tall as some of you, but incidentally is weighs much heavier than any of you. An average adult chimp would weigh up to 70 kg, and that's 70 kilograms. And I think that's about 240 pounds. And I don't have those calculations right, but I think that's just about 140 pounds. So scientists believe that chimpanzees have close resemblance to humans, and that's about 98.7% of DNA. And DNA basically means, I think some of you know, that genetic code that identifies each and every one of us. So by the time you check the genetic code of chimpanzees, they closely resemble human beings. And so that's what makes chimps actually very special. So chimps are kind of, we have 4 subspecies of chimps, and you would see 5 figures here, but I'm going to explain that later. But basically, there's what we call categories in identifying animals. And it's not necessarily that there are different types of chimpanzees, but it's that they are, just like we have different cultures as people, we are all in different locations. So it's the same with animals. They tend to be deviate from one form or the other, or from each other, because of their location, because of one thing or the other in their genetic attributes. So scientists tend to categorize them or group them differently. So what you see as an illustration of the different types of chimps. So right here in the middle is the Nigerian Cameroon chimpanzee. And that's actually the sort of the chimps that is found within the areas where I'm working in Nigeria. These chimps are found in Nigeria and in Cameroon. And you will find that there is also the Eastern chimpanzee, there is a Western chimpanzee, and then there is a Central chimpanzee. Those are found in Eastern Africa, Western, Central Africa, and Western Africa. Right here, you see a smaller. I'm so sorry, I have to go back a bit. Sorry, 1 minute, please. So right here, you will see a smaller sort of like chimp on the lower right. You will see a smaller form of chimpanzee. It's called the pygmy chimpanzee or the bonobo. So it's also a form of chimp, but they don't categorize it as a subspecies of chimp. It's actually a species level on its own. I won't bore you with all those details. So we just go into like a more bigger picture of what chimps look like and how they are spread out on the map. And as I've already mentioned, or I don't know if I have mentioned that already, chimps are only found in Africa. So you'll find them in Western Africa, Central Africa, Eastern Africa. And So as you can see here, these are the Western chimp. This is a map of Africa. This is Africa over here. I hope you can see the map of the world here. And then you see Africa over here. And then where the white square is actually the only places in the world where you find chimpanzees. And this white square on this world map is what is blown up here. And so you find these are the Western chimpanzees. What you find as illustrations are the locations where some scientists collected samples of chimpanzees to see the different forms of chimpanzee we do have. And over here, you have the central chimpanzee and you have the eastern chimpanzee over here. And right here is where you find the Nigerian Cameroon chimpanzee. And you can see it has the smallest range of all the chimpanzee subspecies. And then so that's the range of the Nigerian Cameroon chimpanzee. And this right here is the map of Nigeria. So this is Nigeria, and I'm living right here. Somebody say, yay. Who would like to come to Nigeria someday? Let me see some hands. Who would like to be in Nigeria? Oh, that's cool. I look forward to welcoming you guys. Africa is beautiful. It's wonderful. And yes, I hope some of you will come over someday to Nigeria, to Africa, to not just see its wonderful wildlife, but also to participate in the conservation efforts here. So anyway, going forward, and so these circles I'm outlining, these are the areas I actually work in Nigeria. So that area in precisely, and you can see that there was no chimpanzee illustrations there. There was a big question mark there, and that was actually what stirred me to start the work I started to do, because scientists have gone around Africa to collect samples of chimpanzees to determine all of its forms, but it was so difficult for them to get samples from this part of Nigeria. So there was a lot of unknowns about the population, the types that are actually existing in this part of Nigeria. And that was what really now stirred me to get to work there and answer those questions, and much more to see how we can help them to continue to survive. Going forward, I will tell you the results of my work after a couple of years, because we kind of like were able to get enough samples for us to be able to share this work. So for me to go out there to get to know more about these chimpanzees means that I have to try to find them, and they are in the forest. They live in the wild. I don't know if someone can help me to guess how we go about finding chimps, because chimps are not in the zoo there, they are in the forest, and you have to find them. You just have to count them, see them, and be able to record information, what we call data, collect as much data as possible. So any ideas as to how we go about finding chimps? Any ideas? Okay, I help you out. Okay, some people have ideas. Okay, let me help you out so that we don't start. We will do that later, questions and answers later at the end of this. So let me just finish up that. So, but I'm happy some of you are able to figure out how we go about finding chimps. So of course, one of the ways we find chimpanzee is by what you see here is the footprint of a chimpanzee in the forest. So when I see the footprint of a chimpanzee, I know the age of the chimpanzee. I can tell what time it passed over there. I can estimate roughly what time the chimpanzee must have passed through that time. And there is something chimps do. Chimps, like I already said, they are so closely resemble humans. So they are so intelligent, and they like to live comfortably as well. Just like we like to sleep in a bed at night, and we have a house where we live. Chimps build what we call a nest. So what they do is like they bend branches together and pad it up with nice leaves and cushion it up and make it look really pretty and nice. And then they sleep in it every night. So we call it a nest. And this is an example of a nest. This photo you see right here is an example of a nest. And so when I go out in the forest and I see like 10 nests, I know that there are 10 adult chimps. Okay, I didn't count the babies because the babies will sleep with their moms. So babies younger than 4 years old, or youngsters as young as up to between 0 to 4 years old would sleep with their mom. So we basically are counting the adults that are in that group. So this gives us an idea of how many chimpanzees are in that area. So one of the other things I love when I go to the forest to look out for chimps is to hear their wonderful calls. So I don't know if you heard that very well. So it sounds something like that. It goes, can you do it with me? I want all of you to do it together. That's the call of a chimp. So I'll play it again and we go about doing the calls of chimp. So you can remove your face mask, I think, for a minute, I guess, and then try to call, or you can do it behind your face mask. So whatever you want to try to do now. So I just played the call for you again. Okay, can we all do it now? So that's so cool. But you know, I love those calls because they let us know when we're in the forest, and sometimes we get so frustrated because they are not located in one particular place where we can actually see them. But when they call from a kilometer away, because the calls can be so loud, we would know the direction from which they are calling from, and we'll be able to trace them. So it's like, you know, for us, it's like music to our ears, those of us who work in the field. So we like to hear them call. And I will tell you later what these calls mean. There are different communication between themselves when they make these calls. Sometimes they're excited. Sometimes there's trouble in the midst of the group. Sometimes it's like someone is in trouble and they're fighting each other. It's different. There are different forms of communication. But I think the most exciting is really when they're excited about something, about food or something like that. So it's very good. It's all right. We move forward from there. Okay, so one of the things I also did was to collect chimp poop. Now, sorry about that. I have to go to the previous slide. So I collect chimp poop because, like I said to you earlier, there was a lot of unknown as to the type of the chimps that exist in that part of Nigeria. So I was collecting chimp poop, and you can see me here. Sometimes it's the air. We don't capture chimps to collect samples from them so that we can take to the lab, because they call that invasive method of studying an animal, and which is not really ideal. So we do what we call non-invasive method. So it's even if we by chance happen to come across where they have pooped in the forest, or where they have, you know, rubbed themselves against a tree, and we're able to pick up one hair strand or the other, we put them in a tube. I don't know what I should call it, but it's just like in a lab tube, and where we have a preservation liquid in it that we preserve those poop and or the hair samples. So I think one of the things I should tell you exciting about chimp poop is that it smells just like human poop. Like, it smells really bad, but guess what? I'm always excited to see chimp poop. I won't lie, because it was one of the only ways we could really help to get enough information that will help us to determine what types of chimpanzees existed in that part of Nigeria, and filling that question mark, and, you know, just answer that missing puzzle, filling that space of that missing puzzle for these chimps that exist in this part of the country. So we were able to do that, thankfully, and the results came out, and we discovered that these chimps are actually quite unique from all the other chimps that exist in other parts of the continent. So that's great. So I just slide in this photo here of a Nigerian Cameroon chimp. That's a baby chimp in the wild. And so now, so sorry for the graphic photo. I hope nobody's offended. So sorry, but it was important that I start to tell you that we didn't just go around to find chimps. We started to find that they were in trouble. They were being hunted by people. And one of the ways they hunted them, in the part of the country where I work, people don't eat chimpanzee as food because it's sort of like forbidden in the culture, because of course they also believe that chimpanzees resemble people so much that they feel it's forbidden to eat chimpanzees. But one of the reasons why they hunt them is that they would use their body parts to make what they believe would make some kind of charm, traditional medicines that will make people strong, which is, I don't know if I would say it's a founded belief, but it's sort of what some people believe, and it's endangering the chimpanzee. And it's driving them to extinction. One of the other things that we found was happening there was that chimpanzees were being captured for the pet trade, and which is so wrong. Some people see a baby chimp and they say, oh, it's so cute. Yes, it's so cute, but it's a wild animal and it belongs in the wild. So can everybody say it with me? Chimpanzees are not pets. Let me hear everybody say it. Chimpanzees are not pets. So chimps are not pets, and we try to tell as many people as possible that trading in chimps it's wrong and it's endangering them, because it's removing so many of them from the wild where they belong and reducing the numbers that should actually be in the forest. And if we don't check this, they would be completely gone. They would disappear completely from the forest. And they do play an important role in the forest. And this is one of the things I should have said to you in the beginning. One of the very important roles that chimpanzees play in the forest is that they help to break down, they help to disperse the seeds of some trees that would normally not be able to, that are not normally eaten by other smaller animals. So there are some seeds of food, because chimpanzees are so big, like I told you, they are like, their weight is like the size of an adult man or woman. And so they would eat large seeds or large fruits that other animals that are smaller than them wouldn't be able to break down. So they have the capability to break that down and disperse those seeds so that the forest can continue to grow and to survive. But when chimps are gone from the forest, we lose not just the chimpanzees, but we lose the forest itself, and we lose our ecosystem. So, and we also lose so many things like our ability to live normally. For example, there is climate change, which is caused by the loss of animals in our forest and the loss of the forests themselves, because forests absorb the carbon that we emit into the air. So without the forest, we are unable to absorb the amount of carbon that humans emit into the atmosphere from the things we do. So one of the other things I should mention here is that one of the reasons why chimps are so in trouble. I had a video here. I'm sorry, it's not playing. Okay, it's here. So this is a video of the forest before we started conserving this area. This is one of the forests where the chimps are actually found in the part of the country where I work, in parts of Nigeria where I work. So you can see from this video, I don't know if this video is playing. I think the bandwidth is very low, so we are unable to. So from this video, you will see how people are cutting off, are using parts of the forest for farming, for one cultivation type or the other. So you can see the forest, it's reducing and it's shrinking and it's getting smaller than it was. So this is a drone shot of the forest where I am working right now, and where we are trying to conserve not just the chimps, but their forest home as well. So it's the deforestation of this forest is one of the things that causes chimpanzees not just to lose their home, but they lose their lives, because if they don't have the forest, they can't survive anymore. So, sorry, I think I'm running a bit out of time, so I will just really go through this quickly. So I've already explained the issue of the habitat loss. So there are people who are cutting down these trees for one purpose or the other. People are farming inside the forest. Some people are cutting it down and burning it. So these are the reasons. So you saw the drone shots, and these are more close-up photos of what's really happening inside this forest, and which we are trying to stop so that chimpanzees can continue to survive. So more so, there are other issues that are contributing to the loss of chimpanzees in this forest, because there are no laws in the parts of the country where I'm working that would help to protect these chimps. So when I go further into the work I do as a chimpanzee conservationist, you will see some of the reasons why we are doing things like advocating for new laws to be enacted so that chimpanzees will not easily be hunted or their forests will not be destroyed. Sorry, the slide is just a bit slow. So like one of the things I do to conserve these chimps is to engage people we call stakeholders. Now, let me explain what that word is, stakeholders. Stakeholders are people who are responsible for doing certain acts or taking certain actions or decisions that would not just help chimpanzees, but help the environment and help the people around them. So we engage the community, the government, and the people who should be responsible for taking care of the chimps and their forest. We teach them and educate them about why it's important, the laws they need to make for these chimps to continue to survive. So that's part of what I do. Also, I go to schools in the communities to teach little children like yourself about the chimpanzees that is in the forest close to them. So they learn not just about chimpanzees, but about the animals as well. So when they grow older, they would become conservationists themselves. So we educate them, we put billboards out there to teach them about the forest and about the wildlife.
This evening for sons and daughters.
Okay. So that was just like radio jingle I put in there. So we do that as well. We put things on TV, we put things in the radio to teach people why it's important for them to conserve chimps. So my work is like multifaceted. I do a lot of things as a conservationist. So it's not just going to the forest to find the chimps. I do much more than that. I have to go and see all the people, not the young, the old, the government, the farmer, and see everybody and ensure that we are all working together to help to conserve the chimpanzee. So I've already explained to you about research and monitoring, which is why I go to the forest to find the chimp. So one of the important things we have been able to achieve recently as well is that we're able to create protected areas, just like you have the national parks in your countries. And so those are the kind of things we try to create. So we create these protected areas and teach the people who work there how to protect the place for the animals themselves. So it's not just chimps we find in this forest. There are elephants in this forest. There is pangolin, you'll find other monkeys like the red-capped mangabe, and the photos you're seeing here, this is a red-capped mangabe. This is a potty-nosed monkey, and this is a pangolin. I think the pangolin is tagged the world's most trafficked mammal. So presently it's one of the most trafficked mammal in the world. So it's also endangered. So while we are protecting the chimps, there are so many other endangered species that benefit from that conservation efforts. So it's like a boomerang effect. So like you do one thing and every other thing is taking place at the same time. So which makes our work very important. But it doesn't mean that I've covered all ground. So there's more work to be done and there is no time to waste. And yeah, so I invite you to come on in and join me in these efforts because, of course, I can't do it alone. So one of the ways I think you can help is to go to our social media channels and, share our work. And and on your own social media channels as well, and to your friends and families, you can also tell them more about chimpanzee conservation. You can spread the message because even when chimpanzees are trafficked or are traded as pets, they come to places in Europe, they go to places in the US as pets, and you could tell people that that's wrong. These are wild animals and they belong in the wild. The more they are taken out of the wild for pets, the less you find in them in the wild there. So that's all for me. And if there are any questions, I'm very, very happy to answer them.
Thank you. All right, we've already come to the end of our show. We still have some more questions that hopefully we'll be able to get to next time, but we always end with the final question for our explorer. Rachel, how can we join in your mission to help protect key species like chimpanzees?
Oh, that's a very good question, Gina. And I think I mentioned that earlier at the end of my talk. And I was saying there are very, very simple ways you can be conservationist yourself. It's not a fancy title, and it's not a rocket science job. Anybody can be a conservationist just by lending your voice to the cause, just by letting people know that they could support conservationists like myself, probably through National Geographic Society that supports us on ground. You too can actually be conservationists. And of course, you too can be conservationists by sharing information like I've shared with you on social media, with your friends and with your family. Some people will need other people to let them know that having chimpanzees as pets is actually endangering them in the wild. Some people don't know that. They think they are cute. And then even you yourself, if you go to a circus, if you go to any country or in your country where there is a circus where they are using chimpanzees to make money, don't pay to take pictures with those chimpanzees, because by paying, you are increasing the number of people who would be asking to take chimps out of the wild for things like that, for profit making, which is totally wrong and is unethical. So that way you are also being a conservationist yourself, and a very good one at that. So, and being part of this show, it's also means you're very interested in chimpanzee conservation. And I hope that someday when you get the chance, you would come over to Africa too, in any part of Africa. It doesn't have to be Nigeria. And then you would be able to conserve chimpanzees directly by yourself, research on them, learn more about them, whatever ways you would pursue your interest and increase this passion of yours.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that fabulous answer, and for all the cool work that you do, and for taking the time to hang with us and share it.
Thank you, Gina.
Yes, teachers, thank you for making cool stuff like this happen for your classes. And students, thank you most of all for your brilliant questions. They are always exciting, and they are always so thoughtful. We'll be back here next week on Explorer Classroom, same time and same day, but with another amazing explorer. Register your class for a shout out during the event and a chance to be up on screen with our upcoming explorers. And next week, we're learning about the scale of solar systems. And the week after that, we're looking at the twilight zone of the ocean. Then we'll be learning about how scientists track elephant seals. So a lot of exciting things coming up. As a reminder, teachers, you can check out many more free and amazing educational resources at natgeoed.org, including lots of fabulous free professional development opportunities. I want to wish everyone a happy Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month, and have a great day. Stay curious, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.